Welcome everyone to today's webinar. I'm Tammy Pisani, Membership Manager for Queensland. You're joining us today for the Smart Water Mine as part of our ESG Showcase Series. Before we begin, and on behalf of Austmine and all of today's presenting companies, I'd like to acknowledge that we are hosting this webinar from the land of the Turrbal and Yagra people. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands on which we meet today and recognize the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people attending today's webinar. So thanks for being here. The ESG Showcase Series is meant to provide our members a way to showcase their solutions while sharing valuable insights to help overcome key ESG challenges. The ESG webinar series covers various topics and highlights the innovative solutions and technologies the MET sector is contributing to mining's sustainable future. All right, so let's get started. Today we continue the series with the Smart Water Mine, delving into technologies and solutions around water treatment and recovery, reduction in energy and water consumption, and environmental water management systems, just to name a few. We've had some great Austmine member companies presenting today. Today we have 5 member companies sharing their technology and innovation success stories. Let me just introduce them real quickly. Joining us to share their expertise is Harvey Foroush with Alfa Laval, Daniel Chavez with AVEVA, Stuart Vandewater with Acquire Technology Solutions, Chris Doolin with Proskill, and Mark Keogh with UON. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us today. The format will include a short presentation by each of our presenters, followed by a Q&A session after the conclusion of the presentation. So if you have any questions at any time, you can type your question into the Zoom interface, and we'll ask the questions after everyone has finished their presentations. This webinar is being recorded, and we will definitely share the recording with all of our attendees today. All right, well, that concludes the welcome and introduction. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our first presenter, Mr. Harvey Foroush. Harvey is a sales manager in the energy division at Alfa Laval. And Harvey, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Tammy, and thanks, Austmine, for this opportunity for Alfa Laval to present our solid ball centrifuge technology. Let's get started. So, yeah, my name is Harvey Foroush. I'm the technical sales manager for Alfa Laval Australia in Energy Division. I'm based in Brisbane, and I will walk you through our technology for mining applications and with a focus on tailings management. Given the subject of today's webinar is focused on smart mining, I just want you to go to walk you through how we can manage tailings in a smart way. You can either manage the thickener underflow for your tailings through Alfa Laval solid ball centrifuge. In that case, you can recover the water, more than 80% of the water, and remove the solids from that slurry. Or you can do the traditional way to just pump it into a tailings dam. You can't recover the water, and you will lose a huge amount of water. It will add cost to the operation and also the rehabilitation of the mine at the end of life of the mine. So next slide, just a quick overview of the agenda today. Today's agenda will include focus on water and circularity for tailings management and how Alfa Laval centrifuge technology could help mining industry achieve sustainability targets and reduce environmental impact. I'll walk you through a quick introduction about Alfa Laval, who we are and what we are doing in Australia and globally in the mining industry, what a solid ball centrifuge is and how we could help the mining industry, the wear protection package in our centrifuges, and also our existing installations in Australia and globally, And at the end, a quick case story of red mud dewatering that we are doing at the moment in Queensland. So let's get started. Circularity is on everyone's mind, and optimized water and resource management plays an important role in driving this transformation. Resource efficiency not only improves the sustainability of the operation, it can also be a smart way to cut costs and improve safety. Separation technology for tailings dewatering maximize the reuse of processed water. This is particularly important in the areas where water scarcity is growing, is a growing problem. Better water management contributes to social license. We also need solutions for all tailings ponds reaching capacity, as licenses for new tailings storage facilities are harder to come by. Let me show you the latest technology innovation for better tailings management. So this slide is quick introduction about Alfa Laval. We are a Swedish-based company. We've been manufacturing centrifuges for more than 140 years. Our centrifuge technology have a worldwide reputation for high performance, excellent quality, robust design, and reliability. In Australia, we've been celebrating our 95th year of business in Australia. We have the largest sales and service organization of any solid bore centrifuge supply in the country, along with the largest installation base of centrifuges. So what is a solid bore centrifuge? A solid bore centrifuge is a type of mineral processing centrifuge that's used in the mining industry for separation of solids and liquids. It uses G-force to separate solids from liquid. Solid bore centrifuge can be used for cost-effective solid-liquid separation in applications such as tailings dewatering and flotation. We have our premium wear package, wear protection package for tough mining applications. Wear protection package have been implemented on the feed zone where slurry comes in to the centrifuge, on the bowl, screw conveyor where solids get separated and scrolled towards the solid discharge, and on the solid discharge end of the machine, as you can see on this slide. You can see the components, as I mentioned on the previous slide. The feed zone on the left, it's tungsten carbide wear protection, and we have tungsten carbide ribs to protect the rib from wear, and also help the solids to be pushed out of the centrifuge. And on the right, you can see one of our screw conveyors of the mining centrifuges in our service center in Sydney. You can see the premium wear package on the screw conveyor flights, which is the tungsten carbide ties, and also wear package, wear resistant material on the flight face of the conveyor. This slide is quick, some photos of our existing installations in Australia. As we speak today, I'm proud to say that we have 15 large solid bore centrifuge installed in Australia. Out of those, 9 of our largest centrifuge. We have installations in coal tailings in Queensland and New South Wales. We have one installation in WA for nickel process. And we have many centrifuges in copper and uranium in South Australia and Queensland. Our largest installation is the photo on the bottom right, where we have 18 of our largest centrifuges installed and in operation in Canada. We have many centrifuges for exploration drilling in the mining industry that helps recovering the drilling mud in that industry. As we speak, we are doing the world first full-scale centrifuge trial for red mud dewatering in Queensland. The trial commenced in July last year and still ongoing. So far, very good separation results, and we managed to achieve the criteria specified by the customer so far. And they are doing some more analysis on the centrifuge cake and also the centrifuge operation on site at the moment.
All right, thanks, Harvey. Great presentation. All right, we'll move on to our next presenter. Next up is Daniel Chavez, Principal Solutions Consultant at AVEVA. Daniel, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Tammy. Yeah, let's go here. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. Yeah, my name is Daniel Chavez. I work in the pre-sales team at AVEVA. I left my email address there if you need to contact me after. There's also a few links in there. There's a QR code to get more resources about this topic and our mining solutions page. So first of all, I'm based in Sydney, by the way, if you want to catch up for a coffee or something over this. But who is AVEVA, right? AVEVA is a industrial software leader, and we've been around for 50 years. There's been a lot of acquisitions throughout our history. We started in engineering, computer-aided design in Cambridge. Then we merged with a lot of other companies such as Cytec, OSI Soft, who made the PI system. And now we're part of Schneider. We are independent business. We operate independently, but we are part of the Schneider group. And we have a really large portfolio covering all aspects of the stack, right? Engineering, operations, AI systems, both on cloud and on premises. We cover pretty much all aspects of the life cycle of a plant and operations, etc., from the design to operations to optimization. We're truly agnostic, open software. All we do is create software, support it, and sell it. And we can integrate to many other vendors and solutions in the business. And this is just to show our commitment so far in terms of ESG. So we have environmental, social, and governance programs. We are committed to help our partners and customers to achieve their sustainability goals as well. And this will be some of the use cases we see next. So this is just a logo slide here to represent our footprint in the industry. In Australia, we have a lot of customers in mining, metals, and the whole industry, and not only that, but other industries, but we're focusing in mining here. So 10 out of the 10 global mining companies rely on AVEVA. Worldwide, and we have customers in Australia and the rest of the world. This is just a sample, not every customer in there, but just a sample of people we helped in the past that have relied on our solutions, AVEVA solutions, to achieve their goals, run their operations, do their engineering, their projects, etc. We also have a big partner ecosystem, system integrators, OEMs, etc., that can help integrate our solutions and deliver the end-to-end solutions, right, as a software vendor. So mining in the world has been using AVEVA for 25 years at least. So that's it's impressive track record there. And this next slide here is what I'd like to call the buckets of value, right? Usually when mining companies use our software, they usually classify their value and their goals and what they achieve, the results, into these 6 buckets. Today, we'll be focused on these 2 highlighted there, energy and water savings, and as well as environmental health and safety. So you can see some of the use cases and the business outcomes people have achieved. For example, real-time energy and water monitoring, as well as reduction of that, not only fixed plant, but mobile equipment as well. Real-time environmental health and safety monitoring has to do with environmental reporting, license to operate, safety of people and the environment, accidents, incidents, compliance, and audit as well. And this is the same topic in general. This is all about bringing the right data to the hands of the right people. So our customers, they are the ones doing amazing things with their data. We only enable them, right? We want to enable people to have digital solutions that gets data from whatever it is, put it in their hands, they embed their SME knowledge, and then they achieve those results. And this is just, I'll go quickly through this, but basically this is just a sample of our portfolio and solutions and systems we see used a lot in the mining. So at the bottom, we have the monitoring control, so controlling the plant, etc. Then we have that data from multiple places sent to the PI system, which is a data infrastructure. And that data gets contextualized, we do analytics, and then that data can get pushed above for people and other systems to use, such as production and operation management, formerly known as AMPLA. There's AVEVA Data Hub, which is a cloud solution for data sharing and AI, machine learning, and data science needs. And you can visualize everything in a single pane of glass as a system of systems that are called Unified Operating Center. And these are usually the solutions we see involved in mining for this specific topic. So the first use case here, BHP, they had a need for a Google Maps-like type of environment. So they had several systems. I think they were getting data from over 300 devices in 35 sites across Australia. So the systems were everywhere. They had different ways of monitoring them. So they decided to put everything, operational data, in conjunction with a map. So they use the PI system. They use partners like ASReact GIS and Spotfire. So everything was integrated to provide them a single pane of glass. Go to a map, go to one of the sites, click, get more information about the environmental data. So they had really a Google Map type of experience for their users. And they could report, they could be on top of any deviations they had across the globe, in this case in Australia, operations. But as soon as the alert was received, they could act upon it. Barrick Gold, this was interesting because it's one of the sites that they had. They were implementing a new device, a new business unit called TCM Leach. So it was a very big capital project at large scale, and they had requirements by the regulatory body to monitor and report on those deviations, right? Any operational data to ensure the compliance of the new site. So they didn't have much visibility traditionally, right? They had, people doing things manually. Everything was done manually there. So what they did is they put our solutions in there, and then that time was reduced drastically. Everything was automated. People who could see the reports pretty much instantaneously. Supervisors and the management could see those results, so they became very apparent. The deviations, they could act really quickly. Next one is Southern Copper. They had challenges, similar things, data silence, data was everywhere, hard to capture. They had problems with their ore grades, and every process was individually, measurement and efficiency. So what they did is they put the data into the PI system, then it became a single source of truth. So just by doing that, they could visualize data in a standard and automatic way. So that data could be pushed to other systems, and they could start optimizing operations and having a really good ROI there, for example, in production, power, and water consumption. So 6.8 reduction of fresh water consumption, which is amazing, right? And then finally, we have the Dow Run company. So again, very similar challenges there. Managing their operational data is everywhere with the silos. So they put everything into one place. Then they started implementing analytics on top of their data, and then achieve those results, such as water treatment costs and reduced environmental compliance reports by 60%. So very good results there. So thanks, Tammy. That's it for me. There is a link on each use case if you want to see the full video. Very interesting. It's just a half an hour thing. So thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thanks so much, Daniel. Yeah, and as a reminder, everyone will receive a copy of the recording, and I'm sure also the presenters, I'm sure, were willing to share their presentations with everyone. All right, next up, we would like to welcome Stuart Vandewater, the environmental leader with Acquired Technology Solutions. Stuart, the audience is yours.
Great, thanks, Tammy. Make sure I'm unmuted, which is the trap these days. So I'm Stuart Vandewater, the environmental leader for Acquire, and we provide data management and compliance solutions in the area of natural resources and social intelligence. I guess to introduce the presentation, for those in the webinar who work in mining companies, think about your water data. I guess how confident are you using your water data to make decisions and report compliance? Guess it seems like a pretty easy question, simple question, and I guess most people go, yeah, sure, it's all good. But it's a really loaded question, and we're just going to go through why that is. When you know how prevalent ESG is, obviously the focus of these series, and companies are thinking about it. According to EY and a global mining and metals report, it's the #1 risk for companies in 2023. And when we think of ESG, for those that were in the Austmine conference in Adelaide earlier in the year, it was everywhere. Even though it wasn't necessarily the outward focus of the conversations, it was definitely prevalent. And the really consistent theme was decarbonisation. But according to this report, 76% of the people are concerned about investor scrutiny on their water management. And I guess that really outshone the looking at emissions and decarbonisation. So for me, that really brings it back to why it is managing our water on the mine side is very important, and especially the data management behind that. So what are the challenges? There are a number of challenges in managing any type of data on a mine, especially water data. As we know, water data management is really multidisciplinary, and let alone there are heaps of other environmental aspects to look at. All these have different disciplines and conditions and obligations, different ways to measure and different protocols. And it really requires people to be a jack of all trades and a master of them too. Obligations, we know that there's often hundreds, sometimes thousands of these things that have different timings, evidentiary requirements, and different people and teams responsible for them. We've got data coming from a variety of sources, other systems, labs, consultants, field technicians, devices. The formats are many and varied, which compound the complexity of ensuring all of these sources are accounted for and loaded without errors. Our obligations, we know we've got a multiple of stakeholders. They drive a lot of why we do these things. And they have different reasons for being involved, and each have different data and reporting requirements. And finally, there's change. As soon as you feel like you're on top of this, and hopefully people on the webinar will be very familiar with this, something will change. So stakeholder requirements can change, data providers can change, system technologies can change, and people. We've seen that people changing jobs is one of the most significant impacts on data management integrity. So how do we try and tackle this? Clearly you need to get organised and have some sort of system to manage your environmental data and your water data. The typical scenario we see is, yeah, sure, we're organised. It starts off life as network drives or SharePoint, pretty well organised. A new project comes in that doesn't quite fit, and suddenly, yeah, we'll change a new folder for that, so on, and then it goes, and hopefully everyone knows a structure like that. Well, we get a little bit more sophisticated, and yeah, we've got a database. And yes, we end up in Excel. So even if we do have a solution, sometimes a lot of people end up still in Excel. I'm not going to go into here why Excel shouldn't be used for managing our environmental data. I hope it's pretty obvious to everybody. I will just say that it generally works until it doesn't. So, what are the risks? I guess, there are some challenges, but so what? Well, there are pretty big risks. These days, not managing your data well can result in increased risk of regulatory issues, fines, costly remedial work, and in even some extreme cases, legal charges. We all know that production is king, and sometimes as simple as not having a data management order could modify a whole production due to simply an error in a formula. And I guess no one really wants to have to explain that one. Of course, let's not lose sight of the risk to the environment itself. Getting it wrong can lead to identified issues that can fester until some serious damage has occurred to waterways, land, and the air we breathe. It really does pose a risk to the people in your operations, and more broadly, the communities in which you operate. One which isn't highlighted enough is the human toll. The challenges and problems cause significant pressure on those passionate environmental professionals charged with managing the environment and on site. It's often underfunded part of the business. We see high turnover and much stress and anxiety on those having to manage the requirements, requests and deadlines. And really, we are looking at then having some suboptimal management of a limited and very valuable resource. So how to tackle these problems? Well, seemingly innocent question I asked earlier hopefully has a little bit more hair on it now, and maybe a few people in this webinar are starting to question what data they're actually looking at. Thankfully, there are some basic things we can look out for when we tackle these challenges. No data left behind. It's important to design your water data management and monitoring framework to handle all types of data. Water management is broad. You've got surface water, groundwater, potable water, wastewater, cross quantity, quality, field lab, feeding into water accounting, hydrogeological modelling, etc. And that's just water. You really benefit from being able to take into account all types of monitoring data to ensure you have a complete view of your obligations and your compliance. And when I say handle, not with a Frankenstein approach where every type of data seems to be a different modular solution. You need to have this data, regardless of type, exposed through consistent and integrated interfaces. You need to ensure all sources of data can be catered for. As I mentioned before, fields, labs, consultants, devices, other systems, all frequencies need to be handled. If it's 10-second real-time data or once a quarter sample analysis, and ensure the less frequent data doesn't get drowned with the very frequent. The key to is ensure all data is consistent and try to choose a platform which allows for ingestion of any type of data. Like the screen on the right, we've got all types of water data, but in a database which also supports air quality, waste, community, and even flora and fauna. If you don't, you'll end up with more systems, more vendors, more points of failure. Compliance tracked in real time is really important. With a broad variety of data coming in and a different array of timings, you'll need to ensure compliance is being assessed as the data hits the system. And more so, if something is either anomalous or flagged, ensure alerts and notifications can be sent. The last thing you want to do is having people have to log into the system to check everything all the time. We like to say the information finds a user, not the other way around. So take the example on the right. The user logs in and everything requiring attention is on their landing dashboard. Not to mention the emails and the messages that would have been sent to them with compliance issue notifications. Trying to fast track this feedback is vital to get out of the cycle of third parties providing such insight after the fact, and it's too late to respond. You need to ensure you're receiving this data in a timely manner and you'll let your systems and staff perform assessments and really take ownership of your compliance feedback. Imagine finding that your routine water testing highlighted a significant issue. You've just found out about it in the monthly consulting report after the fact, and it's too late to do something about it. And that's a true story. Compliance is completeness too. So you've got your no compliance issues, you can find all your data and you can use it. But is it all there? Has all the monitoring been performed, all the activities been done? Has the data hit the system? A lot of compliance conditions start with something like you must perform regular monitoring in the following locations. So ensuring the data set completeness, compliance with your obligations needs to be a core part of your thinking too. Like the screen on the right, you need to ensure that your monitoring activities are being performed if the data is being received. In fact, if the right data is being received. We once implemented at a large customer who turned the functionality on to see discovered that they were receiving and being charged for analysis that they didn't need to even have been performed. To wrap up, so hopefully I've given everyone a little bit more to think about when they consider that simple question at the start. Do you have the right data? Do you have all the data? Do you even know what all the data means? Can you use it right here, right now, without having to spend countless hours procuring, compiling, and wrangling to get the answer? Systems like our Envirosys database does help with a lot of these, along with the processes and people, can perform really solid platform in meeting your water data management, as well as all of your other environmental data management needs too. And that's your answer to the question, are we compliant right now? And you can prove it. That's me.
Great presentation, Stuart. Thank you very much. I love that hashtag, no data left behind. That's pretty good. Before I move on and introduce our next presenter, I just want to remind the audience that you can submit a question at any time during the presentation, and there will be a Q&A after everyone has completed their presentation. So just a quick reminder of that. All right, on to the next presenter. Next up, I'd like to welcome Chris Doolin, Managing Director at Proskill. Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tammy. I'll just move this slide along there. As Tammy said, my name's Chris Doolin from Proskill Australia, and we're based in Melbourne. And further to Daniel's offer for a coffee in Sydney, I can guarantee you that our coffee in Melbourne is a lot better than there. So feel free to come and see us anytime. Moving on from that, we seem to be industry leaders in the environmental impact on workwear, and that's in the world, unfortunately, to some extent. Have you ever found yourself buying the lowest cost clothing only to find that it quickly loses its shape, it fades, simply wears out, and you've just wasted your money? You may not be aware that the textile industry is the 4th largest polluting industry in the world, and water is a big part of that. The fashion industry alone is more polluting than shipping and travel combined. Is cheap, short-lasting workwear any different or even worse? It's a huge, messy problem, but there's a simple solution. Over the next 5 minutes or so, we're going to be showing you how we can reduce third-party water emission and consumption significantly, third-party CO2 emissions, reducing operating expenses, and a terrific morale boost. So how much water does it take to manufacture just one pair of jeans? And feel free to put in your guesses at the chat there, because what we're finding is about 99% of people don't know. And the answer, without a drum roll, according to the UN, is 10,000 litres of water to manufacture one pair of jeans, which is a phenomenal amount of water, which shocked us in the game for so many years to find that out when we were requested to do a presentation at a waste and recycle show over in WA, government and councils. We were completely shocked. And for 3 to 4 months, we went around the world to find this information out and confirmed that it was correct. Unfortunately, it was. The main place where the water is used is the growing of the cotton, and you'll see the issues that we've got up in New South Wales with respect to growing cotton, and normally in places around the world that could do with the water rather than the cotton. On top of that, there's a CO2 impact, and there's about 8.5 kilos of CO2 to manufacture just one pair of jeans as well. So what makes us different? Firstly, Mascot Workwear from Denmark, Scandinavia has a high respect for the environment, and we're the only workwear in Australia which is accounting standard 8000 compliant. And moving on from that, what is the #1 priority with respect to the circular economy? Longevity. It's certainly not recycle and dispose, which unfortunately is what we've become over the last, say, 30, 40 years of disposable society. We've been working with the motor industry, and the results have been absolutely outstanding. You can see here that Joe Grizik, chairman for the China Service Managers Association in the Southern region, just one dealership alone have not only saved $24,000, but also 2.5 million litres of water, 4,000 kilos of CO2 as well as landfill. Otherwise, if they did not change, that actually would all be waste instead of savings. We're also getting the same results in the global wind industry as well, which is just absolutely inspiring. So we've got a lot of the global wind industry and the technicians that you can see hanging there throughout Australia and the world in this. And the reason they go to it is because it just does not know how to wear out. So is the mining industry any different? We presented this information at IMARC last year, and we got a lot of interest, including Phoenix Linings, who came to us and said they have got a serious problem. Consequently, we fast-tracked getting road testing going. As at the 1st of February this year, we started road testing with our pants with a couple of road testers there, and these guys are full on. It was hard to get information and work them just because they were working so hard, but we got the road test started. And surprisingly, they went through pants effectively every 2 months. When we started with the road test pants that we gave them, as at the 1st of February, now they're still as good as new. So that makes them, and not only as good as new, but they've actually been using them instead of once a week like they use the other pants. They use our pants 2 to 3 times a week. So if we say that's 2.5 times by 6 months, that makes it 15 months, whereas the other pants that you're using only lasting about 2 months. So it's phenomenal savings. And here's the results that we've got so far. 5 less pants purchased and still decreasing because the pants are still going. That means $500 saved per pair of pants, 50,000 litres of water and 40 kilos of CO2 saved and still increasing. Otherwise, if nothing was done, that would all be wasted. Now we'll just click on the financial and environmental savings calculator that we built. And I'll just wait for that to come in from Tammy and Haley. And while it is coming in, I can't quite see that there, guys. While it is coming in, Victoria University actually did a desktop audit and they around the world to find out if anything like this existed, and it doesn't. So what you're looking at is world leading, and it is pretty exciting, but also daunting at the same time. It means no one is tracking the true cost of workwear, which is very scary. So moving on, you can see here that Haley has put in an average, say, pair of pants of ours, $150. Other brands, let's say $80. Now, Haley, if you'd like to just put in under quantity there of pants, just one for now. Thank you. And let's just put lasting 5 times longer, just to be reasonable. And at the moment, we've got the Phoenix pants lasting 6 times longer and still going. Now, you can see here the results here are pretty unbelievable. That's $250 saved just for one pair of Proskill mascot pants. Down at the bottom left, you'll see that's 34 kilos of CO2, 20,000 litres of water, and 2 kilos of landfill. Now, I'll just qualify that 20,000 litres of water. Although the UN says 10,000 litres of water to manufacture one pair of jeans, we're saying that being conservative, we'll say 5,000 litres of water, so hence only 20,000. Now here, Haley, if you wouldn't mind changing that, say, to 100 pairs of pants instead of one. So I'll leave that there at 150. Yep, and change that to 100. Now you can see the savings there, or the waste, are phenomenal just from getting pants that last, let's say on average 5 times longer. So think of your workforce, think of how many employees you've got, and look at those savings. And if you are not saving that, you are wasting it. So it's pretty scary figures. All right, now we might move on to the next slide. Okay, now, so what are the outcomes here with respect of Phoenix? Here you can see Tom Toll, the operations manager who we met at IMARC last year. We were going through workwear way too fast, financially, environmentally irresponsible. If we are true to our environment, then we had no choice but to act fast and stop this significant waste. So they did, and hence the road test, and hence where we are now. And they've ended up, based on a few months of road testing, fitting out the rest of their team. At this point, $500 saved per pair of pants and still growing. 50,000 litres of water saved per pair of pants and still growing. Over 40 kilos of CO2 per pants and still growing. If they didn't change, that would all be wasted, which is significant waste. Coming to the end game, what would your investors and shareholders like to invest in? And that concludes our presentation. Thank you very much for your time, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. That was actually really enlightening, really, really interesting stuff. And as they say, last but not least, I'd like to welcome Mark Keogh, founder and chairman of UON. Mark, the floor is yours.
Morning, everybody in West Australia. Anybody else that's probably a little bit past midday. My name is Mark Keogh. I'm the chairman and founder of UON. UON is a West Australian integrated energy company committed to energy for every future. If we're serious about ESG, we need to understand energy, the use of energy, and the creation of energy. So basically, UON was founded on delivering solutions designed and manufacturers for Australian conditions. We operate in an environment which is extremely harsh, and we build our equipment to suit that environment. So over 20 years, we've continually created innovations. We are an OEM, an original equipment manufacturer of products to support our clients' needs. We've now seen a transition to hybrid renewable solutions, and through smarter, more reliable energy and water management solutions, we're going to integrate a decarbonizing journey and the technologies associated with that, which will reduce the OPEX and the CAPEX. So I'd just like to introduce you play a short video there that might explain the landscape that we operate in over in West Australia.
We're living in uncertain times. Harsher weather conditions and energy security are impacting us all. Future miners will look to invest in a proactive vision of the future. The reality is that nobody knows what the future holds. Whatever lies ahead, mining will need to be more resilient. New technologies like automation make mine sites more efficient, reliable, and secure. But how automated is mining? Mines are getting deeper and bigger. Temperatures are rising and demand is growing. What if your energy production fails and your operations come to a grinding halt? How much will that cost your business? For 20 years, UON has witnessed these challenges. Now, we've created a solution. One that promises to reduce your CapEx and OpEx drastically. UON Smart is changing the game. An end-to-end standardized energy management system that integrates people, data, and technology. It's scalable, modular, automated, renewable, and temperature controlled. UON's GMC generators take away the cost of additional equipment. Fuel use and carbon footprint can be reduced even further using renewable energy storage. Your camps and operations can be 100% off fossil fuel reliance. Solar, wind, and batteries supply power. Fossil fuel becomes the standby. Multiply these efficiencies over your global operations and savings multiply exponentially. Your carbon footprint will reduce year after year with less fuel transport and less maintenance. How have we done it? UON Smart is a vertically integrated solution. We've taken control of our supply chain and developed our own products. And because it's simpler, it saves more in money and time. Success in the future is about being smart and fast, anticipating and adapting to change as it happens. UON is your plan for the unplanned. Whatever challenges come your way, we'll keep you on. We'll keep you operational. UON. Energy for every future.
So that's just a short video of the landscape that we operate in. So when we talk about UON Smart, and we're talking about moving to that transition for renewable energy, it really does require an understanding of the systems and the processes. So we're based in West Australia. We design, manufacture, test, produce industry-leading solutions, and they're fully supported and maintained for our clients. And we also train people for this new journey that we're all going to go on. So we can extract the data or provide data to record its performance and continue to improve its operation. The UON Smart is a solution which is effectively a bespoke solution that's been designed and developed off the shelf. It's scalable, it's modular, it's automated, it's renewable, and temperature controlled. The current solution that we've created is the UON Smart Cell. Now, the Smart Cell integrates patented technology. It creates a solution which is off-grid for off-grid applications, but it's also for on-grid applications where the grid itself has limitations by way of the power available through transformers and distributions. It can significantly reduce your CapEx and OpEx, and it's suited for renewable-based dewatering applications or standalone power systems, or in the event, as we see a transition to EV vehicles within mining sites, it also has the functionality of EV charging. So traditional generators, which is predominantly the main source of carbon produced in mining, it's effectively used as a standby or a backup. Most mining applications operate on a 24-hour basis. So the solution is designed and to work on a 24-hour cycle. So what are we looking at here? To do nothing, it means that there's an ongoing cost to the bottom line, not only in the carbon, but also in the cost of the diesel. So if you look to swap out to one of our GMC solutions, we can save you between 5 to 30% on traditional diesel fuel generation. Now, when we move the GMC to a battery motor controller, which effectively allows us to control motors and pumps with set point control for flow, level, pressure, these are all the basics of a self-managed system. You can save between 55 to 65% in savings. If you then add permanent magnet motors, which the BMC has the capacity to operate, these will also increase your efficiency to 80 to 85% compared to traditional diesel generation. So each UON solution requires less diesel, and it also means that saving in the generator runtime, ultimately less emissions and less maintenance costs. Do nothing, nothing changes. Change over this system, what's the bottom line? We took a snapshot of what a one submersible pump operates on a mine site, which in effect is about 145 kilowatts over 3 years. Based on the $1.38 for diesel fuel, which after subsidies is what the miners have been paying on average over the last year or so, the bottom line saving on the system is $940,000 fuel saved. So you're well into the value chain by way of, from that point on, it is a significant value for you. From an environmental perspective, for that one pump is over 1,842 tons of carbon saved over 3 years. That's a 3-year payback period, which is the bottom line for most mining companies. But at the same time, they can meet their ESG journey right now with solutions that are designed, developed, and ready to displace this carbon and the water as required. Thanks, Tammy. That's pretty much it for me and for everybody out there. It's energy for every future is what we've all got to be looking forward to.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Mark. That was a great presentation. I would now like to invite all of our presenters to welcome them all back, turn on your cameras and unmute yourselves. And we did get a couple of questions, so I'll go ahead and read those out. And as a reminder to all the attendees, please, it's not too late to submit a question. So if you have one for any of our presenters, you can enter that into the Q&A panel at the bottom of your screen. It looks like the first question is going to be for Harvey. Regarding the solid bowl centrifuge, are they designed for a specific application or standard product?
Thanks, Tammy. We do have standard design for normal applications with, neutral sort of pH of around 7. But if we go into an acidic area and, the temperature of slurry is another contributing factor, we have to consider different wear protection packages. So we order the centrifuges to the factory depending on the project specifics and customer requirements. So we have to do some test works, some lab works. We do have a pilot test set up in Brisbane and one in Perth. So we do our homework. We make sure we have the right data, and then we proceed with the appropriate wear protection package for full operation.
Great, thanks, Harvey. Okay, looks like the next question is going to be for you, Chris. An attendee is interested to know more about planetprice.io and how you can make even more calculations.
Yeah, got it. I just actually pulled up that website, which I hadn't seen before. So I appreciate that, Peter Morrissey, for sending that through. I'm presuming that's more information for us to go by and compare with our calculator, which really appreciate. So we'll come back to that over the next few days and have a look at it.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Thank you. And then also Peter is wondering, Mark, is UON also based on the East Coast? Oh, Mark, you're muted.
Get the mute off. Sorry, we're currently only based in West Australia. So we've got a very strong foothold in West Australia, some 400 odd people in the workforce, and quite a significant manufacturing facilities across WA.
Very good. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Harvey, another one for you. If you are recovering water from the red mud, is the mud just going to tailings or used in some other process?
No, the centrifuge cake, which is dewatered cake, and it has around 40% water in there still. It's been disposed into an existing pond, and then it gets dry. But I know the customer is working with some other companies to see if they can extract value from the centrifuge cake. So again, that's something we are also looking into, and we are open for any suggestions. So if you have any suggestions how we can extract value from centrifuge cake, just feel free to get in touch with me, and we can discuss it in detail.
Thank you, Harvey. Okay, this one, Stuart, is for you. Oh, it just disappeared. Another one for Stuart. Does your solution link to strategic and individual KPIs in real time to monitor and incentivize the right behavior on site when it comes to water?
Great question. And incentivize right behavior is a little bit like looking at some gamification, but definitely so. What we try to do is make sure that not only are we looking at, I guess, raw and validated values, but looking at how we might be able to aggregate those right up to be able to produce sustainability dashboards. We do also link right through to the actual originating approval documents. So you can have that sort of full transparency of all the things that are going on site, or the activities, or the compliance figures, but then also roll those right up through the chain. So we've always found it really important to have that sort of functionality. Otherwise, as someone said famously earlier on a few years ago, that otherwise you've just got a glorified spreadsheet. So yeah, that's why we really like to focus on compliance and KPIs.
Fantastic. All right. Well, unless anyone else in the audience would like to submit one more question, then it looks like that is about it. I've really enjoyed moderating today's webinar. It's been a pleasure, and learning about all of the solutions that you have for a smart water mine. Please, this ESG webinar series will continue on for the rest of 2024. So be sure to log on to the Austmine website to register for other topics. The next one up, in fact, is the Intelligent Mine, and that will be on Tuesday, September 12th. For you today, thank you so much to everyone who attended, and we look forward to hosting you again in the future. A big thank you to all of our presenters, Harvey, Daniel, Stuart, Chris, and Mark, for sharing your expertise with us today. It was greatly appreciated. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.